and you told me you felt like one of your own people wrote a statement on you. Can we talk about that?
We talking about Italian beef and Pepsi?
I'm talking about Buttah.
Italian beef and Pepsi. I don't know who Buttah is, man. It took him. He had Italian beef, a Pepsi, and a pack of squares right there. As soon as I saw that, oh yeah, that told.
In an interview, Lil Jay discusses how FBG Buttah had rat on him for a plea deal over a bottle of Pepsi and an Italian beef.
Boy, what? My homie got. What the fuck could I say? Nigga blick my homie. I told my homie dead anywhere it go.
Then FBG Buttah himself goes on to admit in a different interview that he had, in fact, snitched.
Why try to do interviews on the couch TV? You thought you couldn't come out to the hood? Ain't nobody finna make Gyro look any type of way or goofy. Nobody. We from Gyro, bro. We don't do goofy shit. But Buttah, though, we finna make some toast bread with you. Come out, you told on the dead.
As the words get to the streets, some gangs in Chicago call him out, claiming that Buttah is nothing but a rat and tell him to stay off Chicago for good. So it all starts unraveling in 2015 when Lil Jay and Buttah are kicking it with Dorothy, aka Queen D, King Yella's ex, her niece Renda Young, and a dude from the West Coast who called himself Blood. Blood wasn't just around randomly. He'd come to Chicago to pay Lil Jay for a feature, but somehow he ended up rolling deep with the crew instead. Little did he know, this would be the costliest hangout of his life.
Mook came out of nowhere, stick on him, aggressive tweaking.
He just walked up on y'all and pulled the gun out.
Let's be my.
The group crossed paths with a rapper from the South Side known back then as Jay the Kid, but nowadays he goes by Mook. Tensions immediately flared. Mook pulled out a gun, started making threats, but stopped short of doing anything serious. That little standoff set everything in motion though. The group decided to arm themselves and come back, with Blood hyped to prove he could hang with Chicago's street energy. When they found Mook again, Blood took matters into his own hands. He ran up on Mook and started shooting, but Mook wasn't caught slipping. He fired back, and in the chaos, Blood lost his life. Mook, however, managed to survive. Blood's death hit hard. The dude wasn't even supposed to be in the middle of street drama. He'd just come to collab with Lil Jay and ended up paying with his life. The aftermath was just as messy. Lil Jay, Butta, and Renda all caught charges for conspiracy to commit murder. Mook later shared his side of the story, claiming Renda even tried to finish him off execution style but couldn't because the gun was out of bullets.
Bitch, grab my blick, folks. Bitch, put my shit over my head, folks. I just close my eyes, you folks. I just close my eyes, folks. That bitch click.
That little detail earned her an attempted murder charge, making the whole situation even uglier. Now, here's where things start to spiral for everyone. Lil Jay, desperate to wiggle out of the case, tried to get Butta to rewrite his statement. He wanted him to sign an affidavit to help beat the charges, but Butta wasn't having it. To turn up the pressure, Lil Jay allegedly sent some guys at the Cook County Jail to roughen Butta up and force him to change his story. That attempt backfired when footage of Butta telling correctional officers about the incident leaked online, sparking even more drama.
Right out today, they made Jeff move up. I got to keep separate on him. Keep my rapping on my kid. He's son of guy. They call him Prince. I don't know his real name, but they call him Prince. He son him to fight me.
As if all this wasn't wild enough, enter the infamous Savage Life stories. Lil Jay's time in Cook County came with its own set of horrors. Reckless went viral spilling the tea about Savage Life during a Vlad TV interview, painting a grim picture of jail life where fights weren't just physical, they came with next-level humiliation. Butta himself opened up about this, saying he got into 8 separate brawls after a man grabbed him inappropriately while he was on the phone.
Bro, I'm on the phone, I'm talking. I don't be grab my ass, bro. I was trying to get that dirt. Folks left grave.
Hey, he grabbed your now you trying to spit in here.
I'm trying to spit it.
The fights were his way of defending himself and proving he wouldn't tolerate disrespect. But the stories only added to the chaos surrounding the case. As the dust settled in court, Butta ended up with an 8-year sentence at 50%, meaning he only had to serve 4 years. Rumors started swirling that Lil Jay was offered a similar deal but turned it down. FBG Duck even weighed in during an interview, saying Jay should have taken it.
Down, I think, an 8-year plea deal.
If you ask me, you should have took it.
But Lil Jay denied the offer ever existed and eventually got slapped with 14 years at 50%. Renda caught the harshest sentence, 12 years at 85%, leaving her with about 10.5 years to serve. While Butta was locked up, the streets didn't get any quieter. In fact, things only got bloodier. In 2019, after serving 4 years, Butta finally got out of prison. Not one to stay silent, Butta jumped into the conversation almost immediately. In an interview just days after his release, he addressed the snitching allegations and the case, flipping the blame back on Mook, claiming it was him who told on them.
He told on everything.
Along with you and Lil.
But even with his words, the streets were divided about who had done what. Fast forward to April 2022, and Lil Jay was finally released after serving 7 long years. He wasted no time getting back to his music, dropping First Day Clout almost immediately. The track was a direct diss to many of his enemies, including members of O Block who had been arrested for Duck's Emder. The song reignited old tensions, and Lil Jay was once again in the spotlight.
Put a case on my mama on Duck, I wouldn't lie.
Days later, he sat down with Say Cheese TV for an explosive interview that featured the now viral clip titled FBG Buttah Told on Me for an Italian beef and Pepsi. That soundbite alone made waves, turning Butta into a household name even outside of street circles.
I'm talking about Butta.
Italian beef and Pepsi. I don't know what Butta is, man. I ain't get a sandwich, a piece of bread, nothing. The sink ain't even working my cell, bro. It took him, he had Italian beef, a Pepsi, and a...
Butta didn't stay quiet for long either. Just a month later, he appeared on Camp Capone, responding to Lil Jay's accusations. To the surprise of many, Butta openly admitted he had talked to the police, saying he told them that Mook shot his homie.
Lil Jay told on took a grade. Only thing I said was shit. It popped my homie. When they came and snatched us, my defense was that was our homie. Dude approached us.
However, he argued that his statement wasn't snitching because he didn't directly accuse Lil Jay of anything. Instead, Butta claimed Lil Jay was using him as a scapegoat to distract from his own controversies, most notably the rumors about Lil Jay being involved with men while in prison. These rumors, fueled by allegations from a transgender woman named Red Montana, who claimed to have been with Lil Jay for years, caused a massive stir in the streets and online. But the drama didn't end there. Just months after getting his freedom, Lil Jay found himself right back in trouble when he was caught with a Glock equipped with a switch, a major offense. It was like the cycle just couldn't be broken. Between the accusations, the back-and-forth interviews, and the never-ending beef, the drama surrounding these two kept the streets talking, leaving everyone wondering if there was ever a way out of this endless chaos. DJ U dropped his first interview with FBG Buttah, and let's just say, it had everyone cracking up. DJ U, a Chicago DJ who used to work with King Von before his passing, brought a laid-back vibe to the conversation. Butta, leaning into the infamous Italian beef and Pepsi joke, came prepared, literally bringing the combo to the interview as a clapback to Lil Jay's viral claim.
Nacho cheese dripping out that bitch.
DJ U.
It was comedy gold, and fans couldn't get enough. A few weeks later, on September 20th, Butta's birthday, he sat down with DJ U again for another interview, but the celebration didn't last long. By the end of the night, Butta was back behind bars.
I just want to be left alone while I'm doing my little time. That's like that shot.
Not long after, Chicago Rares uploaded footage of Butta in jail after a fight broke out, proving once again that drama seemed to follow him everywhere, especially when it comes to being known as a snitch. By early 2023, Butta was out again and wasted no time getting back on DJ U's platform. In February, fresh out of lockup, he sat down for another interview. This time, DJ U surprised him by bringing out Queen D, and the two of them revisited the wild 2015 case that had shaped so much of their lives.
Driver. He shouldn't have approached us with up no gun on us. He didn't even know.
It was like stepping into a time machine, with both of them reflecting on the chaos they'd been through. From there, Butta kept the momentum going, doing multiple interviews throughout 2023, becoming a staple in the Chicago drill scene's media circuit. Meanwhile, the trial for the 6 men charged with FBG Duck's Emder was heating up, as transcripts from the court case started circulating online. People couldn't help but notice some eerily familiar details in the witness testimonies. The speculation? 2 of those witnesses might just be FBG Buttah and Trench's News. Butta later admitted to testifying, as did Trench's News, causing a new wave of chatter online. Then came the bombshell. In March 2023, Butta reportedly sat down with federal authorities behind closed doors. According to him, O Block members started dredging up old Emders from back in the day, pinning the blame on him. It was yet another twist in Buttah's already wild story, leaving everyone wondering just how deep the rabbit hole goes and what's next for one of Chicago's most controversial figures. But let's trace it back to how it all began. Buttah's story starts on the low end of Chicago, in the infamous Ida B. Wells projects on 39th Street, a spot that's seen its fair share of struggle and survival. Interestingly, it's the same area where FBG Duck and Tuka were born, connecting these names before any of the chaos unfolded. Buttah's life took its first turn when he was just 3 years old. His family moved into Jarrow City territory near 62nd and Vernon on the south side, an area that would shape him in ways no one could have predicted. Tragedy struck early in Buttah's life when his birth father was offed. Butta later described the horrific event, sharing how his dad was shot by a man wielding a shotgun.
So my dad had died at 04.
Oh, okay.
My dad was shot in 04 when he had made it to his other little girlfriend's crib. Her boyfriend was in the had behind the couch with his gun.
After his father's death, Butta was raised by his mother and stepfather, a man he came to view as his real dad. But growing up in the trenches of Chicago's South Side left little room for a normal childhood. As Butta himself would admit, he was drawn to the streets from a young age, almost like it was inevitable. The South Side, often referred to as the heart of drill music, wasn't just home. It was a battleground. Butta revealed in an interview with Vlad that he was first shot at just 9 years old, catching buckshot fragments while hanging out on the block. That moment was just the beginning of his exposure to the harsh realities of street life. A pivotal event in Buttah's life came on December 18, 2005, when Jarvis Smith was offed in a shooting. This tragedy marked the formation of Jarrow City, and for Buttah, it was the day he jumped off the porch. He was only 11 years old, but by then, he was already building connections with people all across the area, including on King Drive and in 600 territory. Butta became especially close with members of Jarrow and 600, such as Tay, 600 Buka, and Lil D. Interestingly, Buka and Lil D were blood brothers, and their cousin Tay also had ties to Jarrow City. But things took a turn when their family moved deeper into 600 territory just before tensions between the two sides escalated into a full-blown war. Despite the growing conflict, Butta and his childhood friends would sometimes give each other passes during the war, a rare sign of their shared history. Butta even recalled how he'd spent time at Buka's house when they were kids, back when the lines between neighborhoods weren't as sharply drawn. Another close connection Butta had was with Jakira Barnes, famously known as K.I. The two looked so much alike that people often thought they were siblings. Though Butta occasionally claimed K.I. as his sister, her real brother was George, known by his nickname G.I. Joe. Butta and K.I. shared a tight bond growing up, a friendship forged in the chaos of their environment. The infamous war between O-Block, 600, and STL-EBT has raged on for over a decade now, but things weren't always so divided. Back in the day, life on Chicago's South Side had a different vibe. There were block parties and a sense of community where members from different neighborhoods would come together, even if only for a while. Fights that started at school sometimes spilled into the streets, but it wasn't the endless cycle of retaliation that would later define the drill era. Buttah's story is a snapshot of Chicago's transformation. From a city known for its culture and camaraderie to one consumed by relentless street wars, it's a reminder of the lives caught in the crossfire, shaped by a city that's as vibrant as it is unforgiving. Tensions between the South Side hoods started bubbling over back in May 2009, after the tragic death of 17-year-old Edric Tyshawn Walker, who was gunned down near 65th and Evans. This emigre set off a domino effect that brought even more heat to an already fragile situation. EBT was made up of older dudes, basically the big homies of Jarrow and STL, and 3 of them were charged in Tyshawn's death. This tragedy birthed a new clique called TYMB, short for Ty You're My Brother, and the beef between these groups would slowly trickle down to the younger generation. Butta was no stranger to chaos, finding himself in the mix when he brought Jarrow City and MOB members into O-Block for his cousin's party, a move he admits was asking for trouble.
Down on me, cuz I should have never took my homies them to my cousin party.
Sure enough, tensions boiled over, and his crew got jumped, though Butta was spared thanks to his cousin insisting on one-on-one fights. Known for throwing hands rather than pulling triggers, Buttah's reputation as a brawler stuck with him. By 2010, he joined FBG, a rap crew led by Young Duck and Dolce, repping STL and diving even deeper into the street drama that was quickly escalating. Things took a dark turn on January 12, 2011, when 15-year-old Shondale Tuka Gregory was gunned down while waiting at a bus stop with K.I. and her real brother, G. Joe. A man approached Tuka and shot him multiple times, KO'ing him on the spot.
My son that shot him 5 more times.
His death would ignite one of the most infamous street wars in Chicago's history. Tuka, who wasn't even deep in the streets, became a worldwide name. Not just as a victim, but as one of the most disrespected names in drill music, with countless rappers from O Block and 600 taking aim at him in diss tracks. STL struck back quickly, taking out Baldy from 600 that same year. But the retaliation wasn't over. 8 months later, on Tuka's birthday, a well-loved member of Wick City named Odie Perry was shot and offed. This was a devastating loss for O Block, so much so that the neighborhood rebranded itself as O Block in his honor. Rumors started swirling around KI after Odie's death, with people claiming she was spotted carrying a revolver just like the one Odie was known for. Whispers of her being a female assassin spread quickly, adding to her infamous reputation. Around this time, Butta found himself in even more chaos. He and Jarrow City member Rail Rail reportedly got shot while hanging out with a group of girls from O Block. This incident became the stuff of drill folklore, with people crediting Lil Reese and Fredo Santana for the shooting. It was even said to inspire Reese's iconic line, "Fredo in the cut, that's a scary sight." DJ U and Lil Reese later joked about this event in an interview, with Butta subtly confirming parts of the story.
He got up here and I almost went fed as right? First grade, nigga, you ain't did nothing else like that. You ain't do nothing else in your life after that.
Butta's personal life also started making headlines. He began dating FBG Duck's younger sister, and their relationship brought him and Duck closer together. The two even had 2 kids together, and Butta described Duck as a big brother figure who always had his back. By 2012, Chicago was on fire, literally and figuratively. Chief Keef exploded onto the scene as one of the hottest rappers in the country, putting the spotlight on Chicago's drill music and street culture. With the city now the epicenter of the drill movement, both BD and GD rappers use their music to diss their enemies, turning the microphone into another weapon in their war. In 2013, FBG Lil Jay started branching away from the crew. Rumors swirled that he'd stolen money, and even crazier whispers alleged he'd been intimate with Duck's mom, Lashana. Butta hinted at these rumors in an interview, describing Lashana as loose as hell. But the streets didn't stop for personal drama. In 2014, Butta was shot again, and his close friend KI was tragically offed in a shooting that shook STL. O Block members trolled the loss hard, with King Von even appearing in a documentary about KI, further fueling the animosity. O Block's Big A took credit for her death, and even changed his name to Big A Ski in mockery. Trench's news later claimed he saw King Von at the scene holding a gun when KI was offed, a claim Butta has strongly denied. It's wild to think about how deep this war runs, with every event, every loss, and every diss track weaving into the tapestry of Chicago's drill scene. Butta's journey through it all, filled with fights, losses, and alliances, paints a raw picture of what life in the trenches really looks like. Butta is back behind bars after a high-speed chase with multiple guns in the car. With Illinois eliminating cash bail, his release now hinges on the judge's decision, and he's facing serious charges. The news wasted no time reporting his arrest, even dragging up past snitching allegations in the headlines, making the situation even wilder.